Hey guys, tonight we're slipping into something more comfortable. No, not silk pyjamas, but the world of Victoria's Secret. Not the slightly awkward mall you avoid at Christmas, not the fantasy catalogue you pretended to ignore in the 90s. I mean the actual, secretive, surprisingly unsexy saga behind the most famous underwear brand in America. This is a story of frilly bras, boardroom meltdowns, marketing hysteria, and enough body glitter to choke a small town. Before you snuggle in, take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if you actually enjoy what I do here. And drop a comment telling me which decade of Victoria's Secret you survived. No shame, it's a safe space. Now, dim those lights, put a fan on for some white noise, and sink into your softest sheets. Or, if you're in a scratchy Victorian corset for the full experience, I salute your commitment. Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever wondered how Victoria's Secret actually started? Did the secret involve uncomfortable underwear, or was it just a sales tactic by a very confused Victorian ghost? Why did everyone's mom get that catalogue in the mail, even though no one remembers signing up? How did a little shop selling boudoir knickknacks turn into a billion-dollar empire? And what exactly went on at those infamous angel fashion shows? Could you have survived a shift folding lacy thongs in a mall at 2 a.m? Would you have cracked under the pressure of answering, "Do you have this in a medium?" 73 times in one day? And now congratulations. You've just woken up in 1977 in a tiny, slightly desperate San Francisco boutique. There are pastel bras everywhere, a faint smell of cheap perfume, and a guy named Roy who swears he's going to revolutionize American lingerie forever. Good luck. You stand in a cramped apartment in San Francisco, 1977, as Roy Raymond, equal parts awkward and visionary, paces in circles. He's muttering about English boudoir and his own humiliation in a department store bra section. No one, least of all Roy, knows that this mortifying shopping trip will spawn an empire of pink-striped bags, soft lighting, and eventually body glitter explosions. But for now, the secret is just, how do you make lingerie shopping less terrifying for men? This is not the glamorous origin story you'd expect from the world's most famous underwear brand. There's no glitzy runway, no supermodel strutting in slow motion. There's Roy, sweating through his shirt, clutching a notepad and a cup of gas station coffee, his mind spinning between existential panic and sudden, wild hope. His inspiration, a single moment of sheer embarrassment, lost among racks of beige bras and suspicious sales ladies. You, channeling Roy, remember the absolute terror of asking a stranger if this comes in a 34B and realizing halfway through you're not even sure what a 34B is. Lingerie shopping in 1970s. America is less romantic adventure, more stealth mission. It's you, dodging eye contact, trying to decipher mysterious sizing codes, hoping nobody notices how out of your element you are. For men, it's especially fraught, a gauntlet of floral prints and public shame designed to humble even the bravest soul. Roy's genius, or his madness, is realizing that maybe, just maybe, everyone else is as bewildered as he is. So Roy dreams up an answer. What if there were a store where shopping for lingerie didn't feel like sneaking into a forbidden temple? What if it felt somehow dignified? What if it looked like an old English parlour, softly lit and full of velvet and pretend respectability? And what if the store's imaginary proprietor, Victoria, was so proper, so British, that nobody could possibly feel awkward while shopping for lace and ribbons? Never mind that Victoria doesn't exist. She's a marketing fever dream, a polite ghost haunting every mirror in the store. The truth? Victoria's Secret's first and greatest secret is that Victoria herself was always a fantasy, because nothing sells privacy like a fictional chaperone. You're at the kitchen table as Roy sketches out his plan. There's talk of catalogues, of walnut panelling, of softly playing classical music. His wife listens patiently, possibly doubting his sanity, definitely doubting the bank account. The first months are a haze of paint swatches, second-hand furniture, and awkwardly worded classified ads. You stuff envelopes for the grand opening. You mail catalogues to confused couples across California, hoping at least one of them thinks, "Yes, this is exactly the lingerie adventure I need." Opening day arrives, and you take a breath before stepping into the tiniest boutique you've ever seen, a space so small you can touch both walls at once, but so heavy with potpourri you might pass out before making a sale. The first customers trickle in, looking suspicious, bashful, maybe a little hopeful. One man whispers, "Is this allowed?" An older woman pokes a lace garter, squints, and decides she's seen worse. Victoria's Secret is at first a novelty. Some shoppers come for the thrill, some for the privacy, some for the fantasy of being just a little bit risque without actually breaking the rules. Most leave with a paper bag, a nervous smile, and a story they will tell at dinner parties for years. The sales are slow, the hours are long, but Roy is certain he's onto something. He believes truly, deeply, almost stubbornly, that people will pay for the chance to feel sophisticated about underwear. And, against all odds, he's right. Soon the tiny shop will be packed. The catalogues will crisscross the country. The dream of Victoria, her accent, her taste, her made-up British restraint, will snowball into a multi-million-dollar empire. But for now, you stand among boxes of silk and optimism, still haunted by the memory of that department store, and you think, maybe the real secret isn't about lingerie at all. Maybe it's about making people feel like they belong, even when they're buying something no one is supposed to talk about. And that, as you turn out the lights on that first day, is Victoria's very first secret. Everybody wants to feel a little less awkward, a little more welcome, and once in a while, a little bit daring, even if it all started with one very embarrassed man and a name he made up on the spot. It's your first day in Victoria's Secret's original store, a cross between a Victorian parlour and your aunt's slightly inappropriate powder room. There's velvet wallpaper, tiny chandeliers, and the scent of rose potpourri strong enough to stun a badger. Customers wander in, confused, scandalised, or both. You're not sure whether to offer tea or call security. You take your post behind the counter, a rickety desk with a cash register that makes a noise suspiciously like a dying accordion. All around you, the world's frilliest minefield is on display. Satin slips, lacy bras, and rows of stockings arranged with military precision. The lighting is soft and a little bit pink, the kind that flatters no one and makes even the mannequins look like they're auditioning for a part in a Jane Austen fever dream. You try to smooth your nerves, but the atmosphere is part perfume, part performance art, and all anxiety. Every new customer is a study in emotional conflict. Some are couples, walking in arm, pretending this is a perfectly normal Saturday activity and not a dare. Others are solitary adventurers, nervous men with sweaty palms and a look in their eyes that says, "I'm just here for the experience. Please don't ask me to make decisions." There are curious teenagers, giggling uncontrollably in the corset aisle. And of course, there's always one grandmother, completely unfazed, who insists she wore racier stuff in 1946 and will demonstrate if you hand her a measuring tape. The rules of customer service here are unspoken and ever-shifting. Should you greet each person with a dignified welcome to Victoria's Secret, as if you're a polite British butler, or just make direct eye contact with the carpet until they sort themselves out? You attempt a middle ground, which means a lot of nervous waving and accidental apologies. Occasionally you find yourself talking to a mannequin out of sheer panic. Let's talk about the decor for a moment. The pink paint on the walls is the shade of a sunburned flamingo. Every surface is covered in something: lace, silk, the kind of tassels usually reserved for fancy lampshades and melodramatic novels. A small table in the corner is stacked with catalogues and more potpourri, just in case the original dose wasn't enough. There's a faint crackle from a hidden speaker, playing what's either classical music or a soundtrack designed specifically to muffle awkward silences. But the real adventure is in the fitting rooms. They're lined with brocade curtains that don't quite close, mirrors that warp your reflection just enough to question your own reality, and tiny stools designed solely to bruise your shins. Customers vanish behind the curtains and re-emerge looking either triumphant or existentially confused. Sometimes you hear muttered debates about cup sizes, fabric itchiness, or whether French cut means what they think it means. Meanwhile, the store's founder, Roy, occasionally swoops through with the energy of a startled pigeon, adjusting displays, fretting over the spacing of silk roses, or giving pep talks about empowering the customer. You nod along, wondering if empowerment is supposed to smell this much like Grandma's house after a perfume factory explosion. Lunchtime comes and goes in a blur of nervous snacking in the back room, where the only seating is a pile of unsold bathrobes. You scroll through the guest book, which contains reviews ranging from absolutely delightful to my husband fainted in the hosiery section. You start to appreciate the small victories. A customer finds the right size without fleeing. A giggling couple leaves holding hands and a lacy bag. Someone compliments the chandelier. By the end of your shift, the pink haze has settled in your hair. The scent of potpourri is permanently embedded in your clothes, and you've witnessed more minor panic attacks than a fire drill at a cat convention. But as you turn the key in the lock and watch the last blushing customer disappear into the San Francisco fog, you realize you've survived. And, improbably, so has the store. It's weird, it's awkward, and somehow it works. You head home smelling like a floral grenade, already half dreading, half anticipating your next shift in this velvet-draped, panic-infused palace of secrets. Step into Roy's shoes. He's an MIT grad with more earnestness than business sense, convinced America needs sexier underwear and fewer panic attacks in Macy's. His plan: high-class catalogues, British accents, and a mysterious Victoria. His real secret? He's barely hanging on by a silk thread. You follow Roy through his days, and they are long, anxious, and fueled almost entirely by coffee and hope. He's the kind of man who believes deeply in ideas, perhaps too deeply. While others see lace and risk, Roy sees elegance, privacy, and a chance to civilize an entire nation's relationship with bras. He talks fast, gestures wildly, and explains the concept of Victoria's Secret like he's pitching fire insurance to people who've never seen fire. Roy does not sleep much. At night, he lies awake thinking about catalogue printing costs, return rates, and whether rose-scented paper was a mistake. During the day, he reassures investors who are quietly wondering how they ended up funding a fake British underwear shop in California. You sit in on meetings where Roy enthusiastically explains the fantasy. Victorian sophistication, old-world charm, discretion. He never quite explains how any of that turns into profit, but he believes it will, and belief is doing most of the heavy lifting. Let's talk about the catalogues. Roy loves the catalogues. They're glossy, tasteful, and carefully staged to feel scandalous but not sinful. You watch him obsess over every photo. Too sexy, and people panic. Not sexy enough, and no one buys anything. It's a narrow path, and Roy walks it like a man crossing a canyon on a tightrope made of silk ribbon. He mails thousands of catalogues and waits. When orders come in, he celebrates. When they don't, he stares at the phone like it personally betrayed him. Behind the scenes, things are messy. Inventory piles up, rent is due, the store is charming, but charm does not pay bills. Roy keeps expanding, opening more locations, convinced scale will solve everything. Sometimes it does, Sometimes it very much does not. You hear whispers from accountants. Words like cash flow and unsustainable float through the air like bad perfume. Roy nods, thanks them, and goes right back to redesigning the logo. His marriage strains under the weight of the business. Dinner conversations drift inevitably towards silk suppliers and shipping delays. Vacations are postponed. Stress becomes the background hum of life. Like the store's classical music, always playing, never fully acknowledged. Roy tells himself it's temporary. Once the brand really takes off, everything will be fine. But the truth is quieter and more uncomfortable. Roy is not a ruthless businessman. He's not built for corporate knife fights or aggressive expansion strategies. He wants the world to appreciate the beauty of the idea the way he does. He assumes good taste will win. It's a lovely assumption. It is also deeply incorrect. As competition grows and costs rise, Roy starts looking for help. That's when the curtain begins to lift. Enter Les Wexner, a retail giant who looks at Victoria's Secret and sees something very different. Not a delicate fantasy, but a machine. A scalable, optimizable, aggressively marketable machine. Roy sees a partner, Les sees potential, and those are not the same thing. When the sale happens, it feels anticlimactic. There's paperwork, there are handshakes, there is relief at first. Roy tells himself this is the smart move. The brand will be safe now. His creation will grow. He will finally be able to breathe. But as he steps away, you feel the strange hollowness settle in. Victoria's Secret survives, thrives even, but it does so without him. Roy watches from the sidelines as the brand explodes into something louder, bolder, and far more profitable than he ever imagined. The fantasy shifts, the secrecy fades, the silk thread snaps quietly, without ceremony. And Roy, the man who wanted to make underwear shopping kinder, gentler, and less terrifying, fades into the footnotes of his own invention. It's a strange ride. A soft-spoken dreamer builds a billion-dollar idea, then loses it not through scandal or failure, but through believing too much in the dream itself. You can't make it up. And as you step out of Roy's shoes, you realize the first secret Victoria ever kept was this. The man behind the curtain never planned for what would happen when the curtain was pulled back. It's 1978. Piles of glossy catalogues cover every surface. Each one promises lace, satin, and a dash of scandal. Delivered to your door, somewhere in Iowa, a bewildered housewife receives hers and wonders if she's just joined a lingerie cult. You're licking stamps, fielding confused phone calls, and wondering if anyone actually wears this stuff. Your hands are permanently smudged with ink, your tongue tastes like glue, and you've developed an unhealthy relationship with bubble wrap. Each catalogue is a passport to a parallel universe. Inside, models lounge on velvet chaises, draped in French silk and mystery, staring with an expression that says, "I know something you don't," and it's lightly scented with rose. You flip through one, page after page of carefully staged poses, artful shadows, and just enough exposed ankle to make the postman nervous. The plan is revolutionary, or at least mildly subversive by 1970s suburban standards. Lingerie isn't something you buy in a store anymore, shamefaced and under fluorescent lighting. Now you order it from the comfort of your own home, under the guise of taking back privacy. Or at the very least, avoiding that one sales lady who always calls you dear. Roy, somewhere in the back office, is convinced this is the future. Anonymity, elegance, and mail carriers delivering small boxes that make everyone blush. On the other end, customers respond in all sorts of ways. Some are delighted, a catalogue full of possibility, a world of secret glamour arriving with their electric bill. Others are flustered. You pick up the phone to hear a nervous voice asking, "Is this Victoria? Am I allowed to order the peignoir set? Is that French?" The catalogue promises sophistication. Reality delivers a game of telephone Pictionary, where everyone pretends to be much more cosmopolitan than they are. The logistics are a waking nightmare. Orders pour in from everywhere: Salt Lake City, Des Moines, Cleveland. No two people fill out the order form the same way. Sizes are guessed, addresses are illegible, and someone once tried to pay in wheat. You spend your days deciphering handwriting, issuing refunds for accidental double orders, and learning the hard way that nobody knows what a demi-cup is, not even the people who make them. Meanwhile, the catalogue becomes a kind of cultural artifact. It appears in dorm rooms and doctors' offices. Teenagers flip through it and giggle. Husbands hide it behind popular mechanics. Somewhere in Minnesota, an elderly gentleman is having a heart attack, not because of the lingerie, but because he accidentally ordered 3 garter belts instead of new socks. You begin to suspect that Victoria's Secret's biggest contribution to society is keeping small-town gossip alive and well. Let's talk about the imagery for a second. These are not the grainy, awkward catalogues of yesteryear. The lighting is soft. The poses are tastefully alluring, read Scandalous for 1978, and there's always a discreet spray of roses or strategically placed feather boa. You wonder if anyone in real life actually looks like this, or if the models are hired from a secret government agency trained in the art of lounging. Some nights, as you stuff envelopes by the 100, you think about how strange it is. Intimate apparel, marketed through mass production. The irony is not lost on you. There's something delightfully absurd about shipping discreet packages to half the country, and then asking the post office to handle with care. You briefly consider sending a box to yourself, just to see if it really arrives inconspicuously. Spoiler, it doesn't. Your mailman winks at you for a week. But here's the thing, people love it. Or, at the very least, they're deeply curious. The catalogue unlocks a world where privacy, fantasy and consumerism blend into one glossy, seductive package. It's modern, it's retro, it's the safest kind of rebellion. In a time before online shopping, before Amazon algorithms, this is as cutting edge as it gets. By the end of the day, your tongue is numb from stamps, your hair smells like cardstock, and you've single-handedly introduced Iowa to the concept of the silk teddy. You lock up the office, catalogue in hand, and realise you're part of a very peculiar revolution, one in which the secret is less about lingerie and more about giving people permission to imagine, to laugh, and maybe to blush, all from the safety of their own mailbox. You're at the register, and the line is all men. They look like they're buying plutonium, not underwear. You've got to keep a straight face as Roy lectures on the importance of elegance, while someone's uncle whispers, "Is this allowed?" Welcome to the most awkward sales floor in America. This is no ordinary shop. This is a battleground of nerves, etiquette, and social panic. You watch as men enter the store with all the confidence of a raccoon caught raiding the neighbour's trash. Some hover by the door, calculating escape routes. Others perform intricate reconnaissance, scanning the displays, as if any sudden movement might trigger an alarm or summon the ghost of Victorian morality past. You learn to identify their archetypes within seconds. There's the Mission Impossible husband. Sunglasses on, hat pulled low, prepared to dive roll behind a rack of robes at the first sign of someone he knows. There's the overly confident dad, who strides in with a list from his wife and a look that says, "I fear nothing," before promptly freezing in front of the push-up bras, utterly defeated by the words, "demi-cup." And of course, there's the romantic overthinker, practicing his Valentine's Day speech under his breath, clutching a box of chocolates like a shield. Roy, ever the optimist, hovers in the background with an instructional pamphlet and a pointer. He explains, to no one in particular, that Victoria's Secret is about romance, empowerment, and European sophistication. The men, meanwhile, nod in solemn agreement, the way you nod when your dentist says, "This won't hurt a bit." You ring up a garter belt for someone who can't meet your eyes, and a teddy for a guy who attempts a joke about support that lands with all the grace of a fainting goat. The air is thick with nerves and perfume. The men fidget, picking up catalogues as if hoping to absorb knowledge through osmosis. They compare lace and satin, as if there's a secret code and they're missing the translation key. One man asks if the peignoir is a kind of cheese. Another wonders aloud if his wife will get mad if he buys the wrong colour, the wrong size, or the wrong attitude. Fitting room requests are a whole saga. No one dares use them, not even for gloves. The idea of trying on anything, even a robe, is met with horror, as if the act itself might trigger an alarm or lead to immediate expulsion from polite society. Meanwhile, outside the store, women walk by and peer in with a mix of amusement and sympathy, aware that their husbands and boyfriends are in the retail equivalent of a medieval ordeal. But slowly, something begins to shift. One man actually asks for help. Another admits he has no idea what lace trim means. You become a guide, a translator, and on rare occasions a relationship counsellor. You suggest safe bets, classic colours, adjustable straps, the magic of a gift receipt. Roy beams like a proud parent as someone finally says, "Thank you. This is actually not so bad." In these moments, the shop becomes less a house of humiliation and more a sanctuary for the mildly confused. The men bond in line, sharing tips and survival stories. One confesses to ordering from the catalogue just for the articles. Another recalls the dark days of department store underwear aisles, fluorescent lights, suspicious sales clerks, and the agony of guessing brie sizes based solely on vibes. As closing time nears, you sweep the last crumbs of chocolate from the counter, listening to Roy hum a hopeful tune. Today, you've witnessed grown men conquer their fears, ask questions, and even, miracle of miracles, choose a matching set without crying. It's not exactly a revolution, but it's close. Here, in this pink-lit battleground, a little awkwardness and a lot of patience are quietly, gloriously rewriting the rules of romance. It's 1982, and the store is going bankrupt, until a retail shark from Ohio swims in. Les Wexner takes one look at the frilly chaos, smells opportunity and mothballs, and pulls out his checkbook. Overnight, the brand becomes a corporate pet project, and the real secret is Les just wants to sell $1 billion worth of bras. You find yourself sitting across from Les Wexner in a boardroom that smells faintly of coffee, ambition, and the ghosts of failed retail concepts. Les is calm, precise, and looks at the lingerie business the way a seasoned chef looks at a pile of unpeeled potatoes, with a vision for transformation and no patience for nonsense. He doesn't see lace and romance. He sees inventory flowcharts and scalable sales strategies. He sees potential profits where others just see pastel chaos and existential dread. Les's first move is to examine everything. The pink wallpaper? Keep it, but make it brighter, shinier, and less like a Victorian tea party run by raccoons. The catalogues? Yes, but now they'll be everywhere. Mailboxes, checkout counters, and possibly slipped discreetly into your neighbour's newspaper. Store displays become mini-operas of seduction and lighting science. Les wants every shopper to feel like they've entered the boudoir of an extremely wealthy but oddly approachable aunt. The corporate transformation is swift and ruthless. Out go the handwritten signs and random French phrases that no one can pronounce. In come standardized pricing, bold window displays, and a small army of managers with binders, clipboards, and dreams of efficient underwear stacking. You watch as consultants march through the aisles, making notes about traffic flow and conversion rates, which for the record have nothing to do with religion and everything to do with convincing a stranger to buy 3 bras when they only came in for socks. Behind closed doors, Les unveils his secret sauce: data. Suddenly, there are charts, graphs, and heated debates about the optimal arrangement of panties by colour, size, and probable emotional baggage. You learn terms like loss leader and upsell, and the phrase inventory optimization becomes the corporate version of bedtime ASMR. The staff is retrained, the mannequins are restyled, and the music switches from gentle classical to something peppy, motivational, and suspiciously engineered to make people buy body lotion. And yet, amid all this, Les keeps his eye on the prize. The goal is not just to sell underwear, it's to create an empire, a household name, a retail experience so powerful it turns a mall kiosk into a cultural phenomenon. Les launches new products with the zeal of a kid opening birthday presents. Padded bras, miracle push-ups, matching sets with coordinating perfumes. If you can dream it, Les will brand it, price it, and have it shipped in a pink-striped box by Tuesday. You witness the company culture change almost overnight. Weekly pep talks, corporate retreats, motivational posters in the break room reminding everyone that every bra is a building block. No one is sure what this means, but it's oddly inspiring. There are focus groups, brainstorming sessions, and the introduction of the now legendary Angel theme, which will one day launch 1,000 rhinestones and approximately 1 million gallons of body shimmer. All the while, Les is everywhere, popping into stores, grilling managers, asking if anyone has big ideas, or, failing that, a better way to fold thongs. He's part CEO, part motivational speaker, part benevolent dictator. He's here to sell, and he's here to win. And as the numbers rise, as the stores multiply, you realise that the era of boutique charm has ended, and the age of retail power moves has begun. Victoria's Secret is no longer a secret. It's a juggernaut, powered by a man from Ohio with a plan to conquer America, one padded bra at a time. You straighten a row of mannequins, inhale the scent of ambition and fresh wallpaper, and accept it. The world will never look at lingerie the same way again. Welcome to the 90s. Suddenly, Victoria's Secret isn't just selling underwear, it's selling aspiration, supermodels, and televised glitter avalanches. You're backstage at the first Angel show, trying not to trip over a pair of 6-foot wings. Nobody knows if the wings are a metaphor, a hazard, or just a distraction from the actual product. You find yourself squeezed between racks of rhinestone bras, fog machines, and models so tall you develop altitude sickness just looking up. The air is electric, thick with hairspray, and the low hum of pre-show panic. Someone is arguing about feather colour. Someone else is trying to glue sequins onto a costume that, moments ago, looked like a well-funded science experiment. And through it all, there's the undeniable sense that something ridiculous but somehow genius is happening. The Angels. They're not just models, they're icons, avatars of a new corporate mythology. Their names, Tyra, Heidi, Giselle, echo through the backstage corridors like incantations. They strut, they sashay, they wear wings heavier than a toddler and bras that cost more than your rent. The wings themselves defy explanation. Some are covered in crystals, some in feathers, some in actual working light bulbs. One pair, rumour has it, required its own seat on the plane. You try not to imagine explaining that to TSA. The crowd, when the lights go up, is a mix of celebrities, fashion journalists, and a handful of very confused investment bankers who are promised canapes and a discreet networking opportunity. You watch as the first model steps out, the audience gasps, and suddenly it's not just a fashion show, it's a televised cultural event. Glitter cannons explode, every surface sparkles, the music is loud enough to rattle fillings. At home, millions tune in, caught somewhere between awe, confusion, and the vague sense that they should buy something just in case. Behind the scenes, it's controlled chaos. Wardrobe malfunctions are inevitable. You see more double-sided tape than at a shipping warehouse. Someone's wings get stuck in the doorway, leading to a pile-up of supermodels reminiscent of a high-glamour traffic jam. The mood is giddy, frantic, and slightly surreal, like a school play with a 7-figure budget and a perfume sponsorship. Roy Raymond's elegant Victorian vision is now a full-on pop culture juggernaut. This is branding on steroids, aspiration with sequins, a spectacle so over the top that even the stagehands have to wear sunglasses. You're not sure what you're selling anymore, underwear, dreams, or possibly the world's most elaborate parade floats. But you can't look away. Of course, the fashion show becomes an annual tradition, evolving into an arms race of spectacle. Each year the wings get bigger, the outfits get sparklier, and the hype gets wilder. You overhear debates about the fantasy bra, a jewel-encrusted piece that costs millions and is guarded backstage like it's the crown jewels. The models become celebrities in their own right, launching fragrances, workout DVDs, and, in at least one case, a career in reality television. Back in the real world, the effect is seismic. Stores fill up with hopeful customers looking to capture a little of the angel magic. Feather bows fly off the shelves. Glitter sales spike. There's an uptick in gym memberships, self-tanner, and, inexplicably, white chocolate sales. Victoria's Secret isn't just underwear, it's an event, a ritual, a chance to play dress-up if only in your head. By the time the last bit of confetti settles, you're exhausted but somehow exhilarated. You've survived a night among the angels, dodged a half-dozen wardrobe emergencies and witnessed marketing history. The wings are packed away, the glitter lingers in your hair for weeks, and you realise you've just been part of a moment where retail became legend, and when nobody, absolutely nobody, ever forgets to duck in the backstage hallway. It's the mailroom in 1997. America is drowning in Victoria's Secret catalogues. Mums, teens, and the occasional confused grandfather are leafing through page after page of artfully posed models. No one is entirely sure why the dog also got a copy. The scene is pure retail mayhem delivered in bulk. Towering stacks of glossy pink envelopes pour off conveyor belts, spilling into mailbags, backpacks, kitchen counters, and the dark crevices behind the sofa. You stand ankle-deep in catalogues, watching as a harried postal worker wipes their brow and mutters something about glamour gone nuclear. The mailroom is fragrant with the scent of paper, perfume samples, and existential confusion. This isn't just direct marketing. It's a full-scale cultural occupation. You picture entire neighbourhoods sitting down for breakfast, a copy of the catalogue propped up between their orange juice and local news, everyone pretending to be far more sophisticated than their sweatpants would suggest. The postman develops a mysterious limp. A local librarian requests a catalogue for research. By mid-week, every waiting room in America glows with airbrushed perfection. What's inside? A fever dream of the late 90s, supermodels in silk, wind machines set to hurricane, and outfits ranging from romantic fantasy to impractical for basic movement. The photography is soft and mysterious. Everyone looks either serenely happy or as if they've just remembered they left the oven on. The copywriting promises empowerment, comfort, and bras that will change your life, or at least your posture. Households develop elaborate rituals around the catalogue's arrival. Teens sneak it out of the mailbox and into their bedrooms, careful to stash it under the bed with other contraband like Halloween candy and unfinished algebra. Mums scan for the best deals on pyjamas and those mysterious miracle bras. Dads claim to ignore it entirely, then are caught browsing for gift ideas. Pets develop a fondness for the glossy pages, either as bedding or chew toys depending on the species. No one is immune. The catalogue becomes a source of awkward family conversations. "Is this for you?" asks a grandmother, raising a sceptical eyebrow. "Do they really sell this?" wonders a disbelieving uncle, flipping to a page of angel wings and satin robes. Neighbourhood gossip reaches new heights, as everyone compares notes, prices, and the odds of fitting into anything labelled petite. The distribution operation is massive, a ballet of logistics and mild panic. Corporate headquarters buzzes with phone calls from people who received 4 copies, or none, or a mysterious Victoria's Secret for Men edition that was definitely not supposed to exist. You field customer service queries that range from "my address is wrong" to "my husband's been reading the catalogue in the garage for an hour, should I be concerned?" Meanwhile, the cultural impact snowballs. The Victoria's Secret catalogue makes cameos in sitcoms, talk shows, and awkward holiday dinners. It becomes shorthand for modern sophistication, tasteful rebellion, and I'm definitely not blushing. You hear about catalogues being traded in high schools like rare baseball cards. College students tape up the models in dorm rooms, then hurriedly take them down before parents visit. Retail, by mail, turns into a national event. Suddenly, the private world of lingerie is no longer hidden away in mall backrooms. It's at the breakfast table, in the glove compartment, and, if you're very unlucky, at the centre of an enthusiastic show and tell during your kid's career day. By the time the next shipment arrives, the entire country is, in some small way, united by lace, by laughter, by the realization that everyone, from the mailman to the family dog, now shares in the weird, wonderful secret of what really goes on at Victoria's Secret. And as you pack up another crate, you wonder, is this what cultural victory feels like? Or is it just a sign that the world is finally, gloriously losing its mind? Either way, the next delivery is right around the corner. You clock in for your first shift. Training consists of learning to say pink with enthusiasm and mastering the art of folding microscopic thongs. Customers range from bashful teenagers to grandmas looking for something spicy. The worst part? The soundtrack on repeat. Forever. The lights are a soft, relentless pink, the air thick with a scent somewhere between cupcakes and deodorant. You're handed a lanyard, a stack of size charts, and a tutorial on guest engagement, which mostly involves smiling politely at people pretending they don't see you. Welcome to Victoria's Secret. Let me know if you need a fitting or, life advice you practice in the mirror. Nobody warns you about the existential crisis that comes from spending 8 hours surrounded by mannequins who have better posture than you. Your first task, folding underwear. It looks easy until you're wrist-deep in lace, trying to make a G-string look dignified. There's a corporate-approved folding method, but you quickly discover that thongs have minds of their own, and sports bras, when angered, will attempt to swallow your entire hand. You stack endless piles of tiny, hopeful triangles, praying that no one comes over to just browse through the entire display and undo 20 minutes of labour in 7 seconds. This soundtrack, a relentless carousel of pop hits and bubblegum anthems, seeps into your brain. By hour 3, you're humming "I'm a Barbie Girl" against your will, your sanity slipping with every beat. There are no windows, only racks and racks of pastel and black, mirrors angled to catch every awkward moment. You briefly ponder if you've entered some sort of fashion-themed escape room with no exit. And then there are the customers. They arrive in waves, groups of teens daring each other to touch the corsets, couples trying not to make eye contact, and solo shoppers with the haunted look of someone searching for meaning among push-up bras. Some know exactly what they want. "Hi, do you have the Dream Angel push-up in sweet almond latte?" Others are less certain. What is this?" a mother asks, holding up a rhinestone-encrusted bralette with a mixture of awe and fear. You assure her that, yes, people really wear those, sometimes in public. Some customers are sweet, some are shy, and a select few are memorable. There's the man who claims he's just browsing for a friend. There's the aunt loudly giving unsolicited advice on cup size to her mortified niece. There's the grandma who flirts with the manager and leaves with a bag full of leopard print. And of course, the mysterious shopper who always asks if there's anything in leather before vanishing into the perfume section. Fittings are an adventure in themselves. You master the art of gentle questions and quick exits. Some people want your honest opinion. Others treat the process like a government secret. Does this make me look weird? Is a daily refrain followed by, can you measure me? My boyfriend says I'm a 32C, but my ex thought I was a 34D, and the internet says I don't exist. You nod sagely, tape measure in hand, offering reassurance and sympathy in equal measure. Break time means hiding in the stockroom, inhaling the scent of cardboard and victory. You swap stories with co-workers about the day's oddest encounter. A guy who asked if you could customize a bra with his initials, a child who made a fort out of slipper boxes, a customer who tried to use expired coupons from 1999. By the end of your shift, you're an expert in folding, smiling, and politely redirecting the truly bizarre. Your hands smell like hand sanitizer and body mist. Your mind echoes with pop music and awkward questions. As you clock out, you feel a strange pride. You survived the retail gauntlet, kept your dignity, and only had to refold the entire panty wall 3 times. And somewhere in the back, the soundtrack starts over, waiting for the next recruit. It's a fitting room in 2004. Half the inventory is marked small, and none of the bras fit like the ads. You're armed with a tape measure and a forced smile, reassuring everyone that Victoria's Secret sizes just run a little aspirational. You stand beneath flickering fluorescent lights, the air thick with body mist and quiet desperation. The fitting room is a study in contrasts. Velvet curtains that never quite close, mirrors that seem to multiply every flaw, and a playlist that promises confidence while customers contemplate the cruel mysteries of elastic. Shoppers enter with hope, clutching a pile of mediums, and emerge minutes later with the haunted gaze of someone who's just encountered the Minotaur in a maze made entirely of underwires. This sizing chart on the wall looks authoritative. Columns, decimals, helpful silhouettes, but it might as well be written in ancient Sumerian. You consult it like a priestess interpreting omens, gently explaining that, no, you're not alone. Everyone's a different size at every store. A mother-daughter duo asks if a 36C here is the same as at Macy's. You pause, consider the laws of physics, then explain that Victoria's Secret is less a science and more a suggestion. Today's challenge, finding a bra that fits both body and ego. One customer hands you 3 sizes, all of which are technically medium. None actually go over her ribcage. She laughs it off, then nearly cries. You offer her a complimentary water bottle and a pep talk. Across the hall, someone else emerges, triumphantly declaring, I guess I'm an extra small now. You congratulate her, careful not to mention the label's unique approach to optimism. Sizing here is an adventure sport. A small could fit a gymnast or a garden gnome. Large is reserved for the daring and the blessedly broad-shouldered. The medium, meanwhile, is a myth, like a unicorn or a pair of tights that don't run on first contact. Staff whisper stories about the elusive true medium, last seen in 1998, and possibly working at a competing store. Fittings become emotional counselling sessions. Customers confess lifelong sizing woes, stories of triumph and heartbreak, and the occasional existential crisis triggered by a stubborn clasp. You nod, measure, and recommend. Let's try 1 cup up, 1 band down. Or maybe this bralette. It's less judgmental. Someone asks if the mannequins wear these sizes. You check. The answer is no. Not even the mannequins can crack the code. You encounter regulars who treat the sizing chart as an adversary, armed with strategies, double up, shop online, buy 3 and return 2, or just wing it and hope. The real experts bring their own tape measures and a spreadsheet of past disappointments. One customer, an engineer, attempts to calculate her Victoria's Secret delta, the difference between her size here and everywhere else. She leaves with a calculator, a headache, and a sports bra. As you clean up at closing time, you gather discarded tags and eavesdrop on debates about sizing conspiracy theories. Some say it's all a marketing ploy to boost egos or encourage multiple purchases. Others claim the company uses a secret algorithm, or that somewhere, deep in corporate headquarters, there's a drawer of perfectly fitting bras reserved for executives and catalogue models. The truth, of course, is simpler and more absurd. Fashion is fickle, bodies are unique, and retail logic is as stable as a house of cards in a wind tunnel. You straighten the size chart, smile at the next brave soul, and remember that your job isn't just about measurements. It's about offering reassurance in a world where nobody, apparently, is a true medium. As you turn off the lights, the fitting room returns to its quiet, haunted peace. Somewhere in the back, a single, perfectly average bra waits for a customer who will never come. And you, the guardian of the tape measure and the secret-keeping smile, prepare to do it all again tomorrow. Welcome to the era of maximum lift. You're in a lab filled with foam padding, gel inserts, and enough underwire to build a suspension bridge. Marketers are promising you'll gain 2 cup sizes and possibly superpowers. Actual results: mixed. The push-up bra revolution arrives not with a whimper, but with a neon explosion of confidence, jingles, and the faint creak of elastic being stretched beyond all reasonable engineering. You find yourself surrounded by prototypes, bras stuffed with foam wedges, water balloons, inflatable pockets, and, on one memorable occasion, what looks suspiciously like packing peanuts. No 2 designs are the same, but all share one goal: to defy both gravity and the skepticism of anyone who's ever tried to add a cup in real life. You try to keep a straight face as the research and development team, armed with rulers and the zeal of mad scientists, unveil their latest miracle. There's a whole taxonomy of enhancement here: Mega Boost, Miracle Lift, Super Shaper. Someone suggests a turbo setting. Everyone laughs, but secretly wonders if it's possible. Engineers talk about uplift trajectory and projection, like NASA mission control prepping a moon landing. The word cleavage is now uttered with the reverence once reserved for saints and royalty. In the fitting rooms, things get weirder. Shoppers emerge blinking, adjusting their posture and peering down with a mix of shock, pride, and mild concern for public safety. The sales pitch is aggressive. Look 2 sizes bigger. All the lift, none of the effort. You become an unofficial cheerleader and therapist, fielding questions like, will this set off airport security? And how do I sit down in this? The correct answers, sometimes and carefully. Let's talk about the marketing. Ads explode across TV, magazines, and every glossy catalogue in America. Models beam at the camera, impossibly perky, their torsos defying known laws of physics. In-store posters claim your entire life will improve. Confidence, relationships, job prospects, if you just embrace the latest in foam technology. Somewhere, a group of skeptical grandmothers forms a support group, pun intended, and shares stories about when support meant a stern corset and a prayer. But the arms race doesn't stop. Next come the gel bras, cool, heavy, slightly mysterious. They slosh gently when shaken, leading to a new genre of customer question. Is this supposed to sound like a waterbed? You assure them yes, and offer a matching set for the full aquatic confidence experience. A team of designers debates the merits of memory foam versus air padding, while a rogue marketer proposes the spring-loaded push-up before being quietly reassigned to the sleepwear section. Meanwhile, competition grows fierce. Other brands enter the battlefield with their own promises: super-duper lift, invisible support, a bra so advanced it should have a user manual. Customers compare notes, swap horror stories, and occasionally return bras with apologetic notes explaining, "I just wanted a little boost, not a physics experiment." Through it all, you notice something odd but wonderful. For every malfunction, for every bra that launches its wearer into mild existential dread, there are moments of genuine joy. Customers try on the latest marvel, grin at their reflection, and walk a little taller, even if it's just for the novelty of a new silhouette. Some even buy two, just in case my confidence runs out. By the end of the day, you're left with a newfound respect for the intersection of science and self-esteem, and the unspoken truth that, in the right bra, almost anything feels possible. As you tidy the display, tucking away one last gel-enhanced contraption, you marvel at humanity's endless pursuit of lift, both literal and figurative. In this great push-up arms race, the results may be mixed, but the optimism is sky-high. It's corporate brainstorming day, and the question on everyone's lips is, how pink is too pink? You're testing the bounce of carpet, dusting fake roses, and praying the new lighting scheme doesn't induce seizures. The vibe, somewhere between Parisian boudoir and Barbie's panic attack. You walk in and instantly feel like you've wandered into a set designer's fever dream. The walls shimmer with more shades of blush and fuchsia than the average human eye can distinguish. Consultants argue over the relative merits of rose gold versus cotton candy, while someone somewhere is threatening to introduce millennial pink just to stir the pot. You're not here to innovate. You're here to survive the onslaught of aesthetic enthusiasm. The store is a labyrinth of sensory overload. Every fixture is a monument to retail optimism, velvet settees designed for exactly zero practical purposes, silk drapes that collect dust faster than you can say French Rococo, and a surprising number of artificial flower arrangements that seem to reproduce at night. No one can explain the waterfall feature in the corner, or why it's filled with plastic pearls instead of water, and then the lighting. At some point an executive declared, no woman should ever try on underwear in anything but flattering light. So you are now responsible for maintaining a complex system of spotlights, sconces and chandeliers that could illuminate a small opera house. The chandeliers multiply. No one is sure how. There are chandeliers over the cash register, in the fitting rooms, and inexplicably in the bathroom. Rumour has it there's even a backup chandelier in the stockroom, just in case of emergencies. You watch as designers with clipboards prowl the floor, critiquing the placement of every single pillow and the existential weight of the perfume display. The window dressers arrive at dawn, trailing yards of tulle and existential dread. They debate whether the mannequins should look inviting or mysteriously aloof, and if the life-size angel wings are too much or just enough. No one agrees, but everyone is very passionate. The carpet is tested for bounce and colour fastness. There's a brief crisis when someone realises the original swatch clashes with the new wool sconces. A mid-level manager suggests leopard print. He is gently, but firmly, escorted from the meeting. An argument breaks out over whether the music should be soothing or empowering, and you stand by holding a dust rag, trying not to get caught in the crossfire. Customers wander in, eyes wide, blinking as if emerging from a sensory deprivation tank into a unicorn's birthday party. They're greeted by the scent of vanilla musk, rose petals, and, underneath it all, the faint hint of industrial carpet glue. Some are delighted, others look mildly terrified. All are quietly impressed by the sheer audacity of a crystal chandelier next to the hand dryer. At some point a brave soul asks, why is there a chandelier in the bathroom? The answer, apparently, is luxury, or possibly branding, or most likely no one remembers who approved the purchase order. Either way it stays, now a landmark, now a legend. By mid-afternoon, you're half blind from the glitter, serenaded by a playlist that oscillates between French jazz and power pop. You straighten throw pillows, refluff the angel wings, and reassure a group of new hires that the crystal swan centerpiece is strictly for show, not for sale. As the day ends and the lights dim, except for the bathrooms which remain at full gala intensity, you survey the landscape. A pink, sparkling wonderland where nothing is too extra, and every detail is one bad decision away from being immortalized on Instagram. You may never understand the logic behind it all, But you have to admit, nobody else does retail drama quite like this. Step onto the set of a catalogue shoot, where the models are freezing, the fans are blasting, and the stylist is gluing rhinestones to everyone's belly button. Behind every angelic smile, a story involving broken heels, wild diets, and a mysterious rash from that one body glitter sample. You stand just outside the chaos, clipboard in hand, blinking through a cloud of hairspray and dry ice. The photographer paces, gesturing at the light meter like a conductor with a personal vendetta against shadows. The music is peppy, the set is dazzling, and the models are balancing on platforms so high you develop vertigo just looking at them. Wardrobe racks overflow with silk robes, feathered wings, and something the label describes as a temptation cape. No one is quite sure what that means, but the stylist treats it like a sacred relic. It's an odd blend of magic and mayhem. The models, part superhuman, part circus acrobat, are hustled from hair to makeup to wardrobe and back again. Their smiles never waver, but you learn that there is an entire world of micro-dramas unfolding behind the gloss. One model is quietly panicking because her assigned heels are 2 sizes too small. Another is subsisting entirely on celery and hope, doing math in her head to calculate when, exactly, she'll be allowed to eat solid food again. The temperature on set is always wrong. In winter, it's freezing. It'll keep you perky, someone jokes. In summer, the air conditioning works over time, ensuring that the only thing more artificial than the snow machine is the sense of calm. The fan operator cranks the wind to hurricane levels, so every shot features wind-blown hair, flying silk, and at least one model clinging desperately to her bra strap. You witness fashion improvisation at its finest. A rhinestone falls off mid-shoot, and the stylist scrambles for the glue gun, creating a smell that lingers long after the catalogues hit mailboxes. Someone's spray tan malfunctions. Emergency baby wipes appear. "You look amazing," the photographer shouts, while the model, gently shivering, tries to keep her teeth from chattering loud enough to pick up on the soundtrack. There are injuries, naturally. Heels snap, and models wobble like newborn deer. There are last-minute wardrobe adjustments that involve safety pins, duct tape, and prayers to the retail gods. One poor soul is allergic to the glitter, developing a rash that will become legendary in post-shoot lore. You overhear stories from past shoots, the time a seagull landed on set and wouldn't leave, or the infamous shoot where a chocolate fountain nearly took out a $10,000 push-up bra. Meals are a production too. Models nibble salads and drink lemon water, occasionally sneaking a French fry with the same guilt as a medieval monk breaking fast. Conversation topics range from Pilates to dream vacation spots, to the logistics of getting 14-inch angel wings through airport security. You quickly realise the best smiles are reserved for the snack table. Carbs are the true secret behind every radiant pose. Amid all this, the real camaraderie emerges. There's laughter, inside jokes, and group selfies snapped between takes. Veteran models swap horror stories and survival tips. Double tape everything. Never trust the temperature of a set jacuzzi. If the wings itch, ask for the hydrocortisone. The youngest recruits listen with awe, clutching their slippers like talismans. By wrap time, the hair is a little flatter, the lipstick smudged, and the smiles are less about seduction and more about sweet, sweet freedom. The rhinestones come off, the fans stop whirring, and everyone collapses on the nearest sofa, blissfully unposed. You pack up, certain that the final catalogue photos, glamorous, airbrushed, serene, will never hint at the backstage ballet of chaos and comedy. And as you step off set, you know the true secret behind those perfect smiles. A cocktail of caffeine, camaraderie, and the knowledge that tomorrow no one has to wear 6-foot wings or pose on a freezing marble staircase again. Until next season anyway, it's fashion show week. You're herding models, wrangling costumes, and quietly panicking as someone's $1 million bra goes missing. Live TV waits for no one, especially not a model whose angel wings just got tangled in the curtain. Welcome to the greatest spectacle in retail, where the chaos backstage is only rivaled by the spectacle out front. Every inch of the venue is humming, from makeup stations dusted in a fine layer of glitter to racks of elaborate costumes that look like they were dreamed up by a committee made entirely of caffeinated magpies. You're armed with a clipboard, a headset, and the overwhelming urge to invent time travel. Rehearsals begin at dawn. Models practice their walk, their turn, and their smize, all while being fitted for outfits that defy both gravity and common sense. You watch as a technician attempts to attach LED lights to a bustier, then immediately regrets every career decision that brought him to this moment. At the same time, someone's rhinestone boot snaps, and a wardrobe assistant is dispatched with a hot glue gun and a silent prayer. There's a schedule, a beautiful colour-coded document that no one follows. Models are late because traffic, shoes, or existential crises. Outfits go missing, reappear on the wrong rack, or turn up inexplicably on a mannequin in the lobby. You field panicked calls from stylists. Is the flamingo headpiece on set 4 or set 17? Only to discover it perched atop a security guard who is taking his new role as accidental showgirl in stride. The $1 million bra, the so-called fantasy bra, has its own security detail, its own velvet-lined case, and the anxious attention of several insurance agents who appear to be aging in real time. The lucky model who wears it is treated like royalty, or possibly a highly breakable Fabergé egg. There are whispered instructions. No coffee near the bra, don't sneeze near the bra, if you drop the bra, you become the bra. The tension is palpable, and then there are the wings. Oh, the wings. Some are covered in feathers, others in crystals, and at least one set is so large it requires a dedicated handler. One model discovers she can't fit through the doorway, another gets stuck on a velvet curtain, and a third nearly takes out a lighting rig with an enthusiastic pivot. You become an amateur air traffic controller, coordinating takeoffs and landings, praying no one ends up airborne for real. As showtime approaches, everything accelerates. Makeup is touched up at breakneck speed, lipstick is reapplied with the precision of a neurosurgeon, and someone attempts to eat a salad while already zipped into a corset. Celebrities arrive in the front row, paparazzi jostle for a shot, and the stage is flooded with more pink light than a sunset on Mars. When the cameras roll, the chaos transforms into pure spectacle. Models glide down the runway, their hair bouncing, their confidence unwavering, even if, 5 minutes earlier, they were arguing with a stagehand about the proper way to wear sequined antlers. The crowd cheers. The music blares. You watch on the monitor, heart pounding, knowing that somewhere backstage another small disaster is brewing. The final walk is a blur of confetti, champagne, and group hugs. The audience goes wild. Backstage, everyone collapses in a pile of satin and relief. You exhale for the first time in days, glitter sticking to your eyelashes and nerves still jangling from the adrenaline. The missing bra is accounted for, the wings are returned to storage, and you swear you'll never do this again. Until next year. Because somehow, you always do. You're working at the beauty counter, surrounded by body sprays with names like Bare Seduction and Bombshell Fantasy. You can no longer smell anything except artificial strawberries. Customers debate lotions like it's fine wine. The truth? They all smell like sugar and existential dread. Your day begins with a wave of olfactory assault. The first thing you notice is the overpowering medley of scents. There's a cloud of vanilla, a burst of fake coconut, and something that might be midnight orchid, but could also be anxiety with undertones of burnt hair. Your skin glistens from overzealous lotion samples. Your nose, however, has retired from active duty, rendered useless by 1,000 spritzes and a level of sweetness that would give a cupcake a migraine. Customers approach the display with reverence, as if seeking the holy grail of alluring but not desperate. They spritz, sniff, pause, and then launch into deeply philosophical questions. Does Pure Daydream have a stronger after-scent than Tempting Paradise? Will this shimmer lotion clash with my aura? Can you recommend a scent for someone who's recently been ghosted? You nod sagely, knowing that the only correct answer is, why not try all of them? There are endless debates. Groups of friends turn the counter into a perfume tasting. One customer claims to have a signature scent, but is now questioning her entire identity because Aqua Kiss and Velvet Petals both remind her of her ex's car. Someone else tests every lotion, leaving a trail of slick fingerprints and regret across the counter. By noon, the entire store smells like a birthday party inside a gumball machine. Your training told you to upsell layering. This means convincing customers to buy not just the body spray, but the matching lotion, shower gel, and, if you're truly persuasive, the travel-size shimmer stick. Layering enhances the fragrance and the experience. You chirp, only slightly aware that the real experience is the creeping realization that you've lost all concept of what fresh means. There's a new product launch every other week. Heavenly Crush, Golden Ecstasy, Passionate Coconut. Each one is more abstract and less natural than the last. The sales pitch is pure poetry, full of buzzwords, uplifting, empowering, irresistibly edible. Customers nod, inhaling the promise of confidence, happiness, and possibly dessert. Occasionally you get a customer who hates everything. She recoils from amber romance, sniffs dismissively at Rush, and asks if you have anything that just smells like clean laundry and no responsibilities. You offer her fresh and clean from the Pink line, which smells suspiciously like every other scent, only with more marketing. Every once in a while, a customer comes in on a mission. I want the lotion that smells like discontinued drama and a mild nervous breakdown. You hand her love spell and wish her luck. Couples argue at the counter. Friends dare each other to buy scandalous. There's always a lone teenager, giggling uncontrollably after spraying her entire arm with endless nights, unsure if she's allergic or just overwhelmed. By the end of your shift, you're slick with a cocktail of body mists and existential fatigue. You've mastered the art of gentle persuasion and the subtle nod that says, yes, this bottle will solve all your problems for the next 30 seconds. You wipe down the counter, the scents lingering in the air long after the customers leave. As you clock out, the world outside smells strangely empty, like fresh air tinged with possibility, and maybe a little longing for vanilla swirl. You realize you've survived another day in the epicenter of scented chaos, and you wonder, will your sense of smell ever recover, or is this just the new normal? Either way, you take a deep breath through your mouth and head for the exit, knowing that tomorrow the lotion debates and sugar-scented drama will begin all over again. It's 5 a.m. the day after Thanksgiving. You're barricaded behind the register as a stampede of sleep-deprived shoppers descends, desperate for a free tote bag and some fuzzy socks. You question all your life choices. Outside, the mall is a sea of people fueled by caffeine, sugar, and the primal urge to conquer doorbuster deals. You hear the faint clatter of travel mugs and the distant wails of children who would rather be anywhere else. A lone security guard sips his third energy drink and mutters about the pink apocalypse. Meanwhile, inside the store, the air is thick with the scent of nervous sweat, body mist, and the low-level panic that comes from realizing you're about to sell more bath bombs in 1 hour than you did all last spring. Customers flood in, some still wearing pajama pants, others battle-ready in matching family hoodies and steely determination. There's an initial rush for the table with the $10 slippers, and before you can blink it looks like a flock of magpies has descended on a pile of glittery loot. Scarves fly, boxes topple, and the free with purchase display is picked clean before sunrise. You can only watch in awe, clinging to the register like it's the last life raft on the Titanic. Every transaction is a high-stakes negotiation. Can I use this expired coupon? No, but nice try. What if I buy 2 and return 1 later? It's your journey. Are the pink fleece robes really half off? They were, until someone hid them all behind the sleep masks. Gift sets are being traded like stock options, and someone is loudly arguing about the ethics of hoarding $2 hand sanitizer. At some point, you're asked to model a beanie for a customer's Instagram story. You oblige, knowing this is how legends and perhaps mild traumas are made. A toddler licks a bath bomb. A man in a turkey hat asks for anything that smells like cinnamon and ambition. And a pair of grandmothers duel over the last glittery wristlet, both wielding coupons like weapons. The soundtrack, stuck on a loop of holiday pop, provides the manic energy of a caffeinated snowman. You become an expert in retail triage. You guide lost shoppers through a maze of half-price pajamas. You break up debates over the true meaning of one size fits most. You artfully dodge the pile of returned items that threaten to become a sentient being by noon. It's a war zone out there, whispers your co-worker, clutching a cup of lukewarm cocoa and 50 crumpled receipts. By 10 a.m., you've seen things no training manual could prepare you for. A woman using a pile of stuffed dogs as a pillow, a child hiding inside a shelf of body sprays, a man requesting a monogrammed thong for his very confident wife. The free tote bags are long gone, but that doesn't stop people from asking. "Are you sure?" they whisper, as if you're hiding a secret stash in the stockroom, or perhaps under your own shirt. Lunchtime brings a brief lull. You eat a granola bar behind a rack of pajamas, staring blankly into the middle distance as carols play in mocking harmony. There's glitter on your face, tape on your fingers, and the knowledge that somehow this is just the beginning. The true madness of holiday retail stretches for weeks. As closing time approaches, the store is a scene of devastation. Empty shelves, a blizzard of tags, and the faint outline of where the slipper display used to be. You mop up, counting the hours of your life traded for overtime pay, and memories you'll never be able to explain to anyone outside the retail trenches. And as you finally clock out, walking past a display of socks that survived the onslaught, you salute your fellow survivors. For you have stared into the pink abyss and emerged, rumpled, glittery, and forever changed. You've been summoned to an off-site meeting. There are PowerPoint slides, awkward trust falls, and an executive motivational speech involving underpants metaphors. The buffet is weirdly good. The morale, not so much. It begins in a windowless conference room at a mid-tier hotel, one with a vaguely nautical carpet pattern and an inspirational poster that says "Dream Big" above a picture of what may or may not be a potato. The day kicks off at 8 a.m. sharp, with lukewarm coffee and a mountain of pastries that seem to be held together by the sheer force of corporate enthusiasm. You sip the coffee and wonder if it's possible to sleep with your eyes open. First up, icebreakers. Say your name, your role, and the one thing you'd take to a desert island. You consider answering honestly, a boat, or maybe a different job, but settle for sunscreen and a strong Wi-Fi signal, drawing polite laughter from people you recognize only as email signatures. The HR manager, radiant with morning optimism, explains that today's retreat is all about synergy, trust, and unlocking your inner angel. The first exercise, forming a human pyramid, it goes about as well as you'd expect. You make it to your breakout group, clutching a colour-coded agenda and a handful of post-it notes. The theme: what makes Victoria's Secret unique? Answers range from inclusivity and empowerment to the smell of vanilla and missed deadlines. Someone brings up the new fragrance, which sparks a spirited debate about whether Sunset Seduction smells more like ambition or burnt sugar. Meanwhile, a junior manager doodles elaborate angel wings in the margins of her worksheet. Trust falls are next. There is nervous laughter as executives line up, arms folded, preparing to let themselves be caught by a department that once sent them a passive-aggressive email about inventory. Someone almost drops the CFO. You lock eyes with your cubicle neighbour and agree silently. You will not be participating unless absolutely forced. After a break, there's a team-building scavenger hunt. You and your group roam the hotel's oddly labyrinthine hallways, searching for clues about corporate values and, incidentally, the bathroom. By the time you return, slightly out of breath and covered in glitter, the clue, find something sparkly. The keynote has begun. This is where things get interesting. The regional director launches into a PowerPoint that features charts, bullet points, and, unavoidably, a metaphor about support. A great bra is like a great team, uplifting, supportive, and sometimes a little tight around the deadlines. There are motivational videos with stock footage of women laughing in fields and a surprising number of slow-motion high fives. You clap dutifully, then look forward to the buffet. Lunch is, unexpectedly, the highlight of the day. The hotel staff outdoes itself. Fresh bread, endless salad, 3 types of mystery meat, and a dessert table with more pink frosting than dignity. You bond with your co-workers over the universal awkwardness of team-building games, the horror of group karaoke, and the realization that, yes, you have glitter on your pants and in your hair. Afternoon brings the inevitable conflict resolution seminar. You role-play difficult customer service scenarios. A customer wants to return a bra from 1997. What do you do? And the answer is always smile and refer to corporate policy. The session on embracing feedback turns briefly into a group therapy session, with one assistant manager sharing a 10-minute story about the time she survived Black Friday with only minor emotional scarring. As the day winds down, you shuffle out to the parking lot clutching a branded tote bag, a stack of notes, and a new appreciation for the weird resilience of retail workers. The retreat ends with a group photo, half-hearted smiles, confetti, and the knowledge that tomorrow it's back to real life, where trust falls are metaphorical, and the only team-building you crave is built on coffee and mutual commiseration. You're in the PR department when a new campaign hits and immediately explodes on the internet. Outrage ensues over body image, slogans, and why anyone thought the perfect body was a good idea. Someone is definitely getting fired. It starts with an all-staff email. The subject line, exciting new launch. You open the attached images and in an instant sense the coming storm. 10 models, 10 abs, and a slogan so tone-deaf you can almost hear the dissonance. You brace yourself. You know what's coming. Because in the age of social media, a misstep travels faster than free shipping, and the world is always awake, ready to comment. The first wave is a trickle. Tweets, snarky Instagram posts, the occasional think piece from a wellness blogger. Are they kidding? Who approved this? Since when is perfect only one size? You refresh your feed, watching the trickle become a flood. Not My Body trends worldwide. Your phone vibrates so much you consider putting it in the freezer. Someone forwards a change.org petition and asks if you can just take care of it. The conference room fills with panic. Executives clutch bottled water, comms people type furiously, and the marketing director insists it's all been taken out of context. You're given a list of talking points. We celebrate all women. The ad is aspirational, not exclusionary. No, we do not Photoshop dogs into our catalogues. You wonder how long it'll take for this to end up on late-night TV. Within hours, reporters are calling. The phones ring so much that the hold music starts to feel like psychological warfare. Interns pass around emergency chocolate. You see someone frantically editing the Wikipedia page. Someone else is hunched in a corner muttering, "Just say you're sorry. Just say you're sorry." Your boss emerges, wild-eyed, and announces, "We'll make a statement after lunch." Meanwhile, customers flood your inbox with emails, Some thoughtful, some furious, and a surprising number that just say, "What were you thinking?" You read them all, drafting careful empathetic replies and then deleting most of them out of fear that you're accidentally making it worse. The CEO suggests doubling down with a bold new campaign about confidence. You suggest a nap and are told to stick to the script. As the day goes on, you realise that outrage isn't the only problem, it's the memes. The internet's favourite sport is remixing disaster. Now there are parody ads featuring lizards, pugs, and even a sentient potato labelled the real perfect body. Your cousin texts you a meme she found on Reddit and asks if you get an employee discount on crisis management. Late afternoon brings a hastily organised listening session. You gather with other employees as someone in HR reads anonymous feedback out loud. There are apologies, tears, and, inexplicably, a man in IT who offers to fix the algorithm so it only shows nice comments. Legal arrives and advises everyone to say less. You nod, quietly deleting your draft tweet that begins, "Mistakes were made." Damage control is its own brand of chaos. Someone suggests a rebrand. Someone else recommends hiring real people for the next campaign, as if customers are cryptids that must be lured with the right hashtag. By sunset, the company has issued a statement, the ad has been pulled, and a new team is meeting to plan an authentic comeback, whatever that means this quarter. As you leave for the night, exhausted and slightly shell-shocked, you reflect on what you've learned. In the world of modern retail, there's a fine line between bold and blunder, and sometimes all it takes to cross it is one ill-advised slogan and the unstoppable power of the internet. Tomorrow the news cycle will move on, the memes will fade, and the company will try again, hopefully with a little more sense and a lot less sexy. It's 2006, and Victoria's Secret launches Pink. Suddenly, high school hallways fill with neon hoodies, sweatpants with questionable slogans, and more tiny dogs than anyone can explain. The real secret: nobody knows why this works, but it does. You're there at ground zero, watching as racks of pastel loungewear appear overnight, transforming a store once devoted to lace and mystery into a playground of bubble letters and velour. The music is louder, the mannequins sport baseball caps, and the average age of the customer drops by 2 decades in the space of a week. Shoppers swarm the new Pink section, teenagers, sorority hopefuls, and an alarming number of parents who seem just as invested in scoring the perfect campus pant. The aesthetic is energetic. There are more shades of neon than in the average emergency vehicle fleet. Logos sprawl across backsides, sometimes with words that leave you pondering both grammar and existential dread. Love pink, party animal, flirt. Nobody questions why pink is printed on a turquoise sweatshirt, or why every zipper pull is now shaped like a tiny dog. You just accept that reality has shifted, and you are now living in the era of branded everything. Somewhere, a corporate executive is patting themselves on the back, convinced they've cracked the code to youth culture. Maybe they have. You watch as teenagers buy matching sweatsuits for group selfies, as if forming a cult dedicated to coziness and pastel accessorizing. The fitting rooms echo with giggles and debates over which shade of neon is more Wednesday. Pink shopping bags become the new lunchbox flex, and every school bus now doubles as a rolling advertisement for leisure wear. The merchandise itself is bafflingly specific. Yoga pants with glittery waistbands, t-shirts advertising schools that may or may not exist, and, for reasons no one fully understands, a whole rack of slippers shaped like miniature poodles. Customers request sizes with a seriousness usually reserved for medical emergencies. Do you have the aqua jogger in extra small? My college decision depends on it. You nod, jot down the SKU, and wonder if this is what stock market traders feel like during a bubble. The tiny dog mascot, Pink's answer to brand ambassadors everywhere, becomes a cultural icon. Plushies fly off the shelves, students carry them in backpacks, and at least one viral video features a dog in a matching hoodie riding in a convertible. Somewhere a real dog contemplates a class action lawsuit. Pink isn't just a product line, it's a social movement. Suddenly, parents are nostalgic for their own high school days, which for the record never involved booty shorts with inspirational slogans. You ring up grandmothers buying sweatpants for granddaughters, only to realise that both generations plan to wear them to brunch. Coaches buy water bottles, students buy dorm decor, and everyone buys at least one thing they can't explain to anyone else. But the magic isn't just in the merchandise, it's in the sense of belonging. High schoolers bond over matching loungewear. College students start their day with a Pink Nation group chat, and entire friendship groups are formed, maintained, and immortalized in low-resolution selfies featuring dog-printed hoodies. You marvel at the power of branding, at the strange beauty of a world where loungewear is both fashion statement and social passport. The line between private and public blurs. What was once pajama territory is now de facto campus couture. The question isn't why is this so popular, but how did we ever survive without neon leggings and slogan headbands? By closing time, you're dizzy from folding endless rows of sweatpants and listening to 100 variations of, "Do you think this says I'm chill?" or "Too chill?" You straighten the pink display, pet a stray dog plushie, and realise the world has changed, and for better or worse, everyone is now in on the secret. You're back in the fitting room, wielding a measuring tape like a sword. Every day brings new challenges. People who think they're a 34B, but are actually a 38D. Couples bickering over bra colour, and the universal awkwardness of getting professionally measured in a room that smells like cherry blossom body mist. You've learned the rituals: knock, announce, then enter with caution, tape measure ready, and a reassuring smile plastered across your face. The fitting room is a hallowed space, a little too warm, always a little too bright, filled with a faint symphony of rustling fabric and whispered confessions. Outside, the store hums with pop music and optimistic window shoppers. In here, it's just you, your client, and the existential mystery of cup sizes. Every customer is a new adventure. There's the determined first-timer, clutching 3 wildly different bras and a spreadsheet of online research. There's the veteran shopper who knows exactly what she wants, until she gets in the mirror and changes her mind. There's the teenager, dragged in by a parent, blushing so furiously you worry she might spontaneously combust. And of course, the seasoned pro who arrives with a purse full of coupons and a list of grievances dating back to the Reagan administration. Bra sizing, you quickly learn, is less of a science and more of an interpretive dance. Measuring is a delicate art, band snug but not suffocating, cups supportive but not overwhelming, straps adjusted just right. You call upon geometry, psychology, and occasionally negotiation skills worthy of the United Nations. One woman insists she's been a 34B her whole life. She leaves in a 38D, and the kind of existential shock usually reserved for people who see their childhood home bulldozed on TV. Some customers embrace the process. They want the works, multiple sizes, all the colours, a crash course in the difference between plunge, demi and balconette. You cheer them on, offering fit tips with the gravitas of a TED Talk. Remember, the gore should always tack you in tone, as if revealing a secret passed down from ancient bra whisperers. Others are more reluctant. Some resist measurement, certain that their old bra fits just fine. Thank you. Some submit, but only after assurances that the tape measure isn't actually a judgment device. You become adept at reading body language, deploying humour, distraction and gentle encouragement to get through each appointment. Sometimes the biggest victory is helping someone find comfort they didn't know was possible. Then there are the couples. Some come in ready for a supportive bonding experience. Others treat bra shopping as a test of their relationship, debating the virtues of beige versus sexy black, or whether lace is itchy or iconic. You act as referee, therapist, and occasionally peace negotiator. Sometimes it's the partner who picks the winning bra. Sometimes it's the one who waits in the corner, muttering about the length of the process. In the trenches, you become an expert in damage control. You deftly retrieve the right size from a mountain of rejected options, offer tissues for the occasional dressing room meltdown, and celebrate each success with high fives, secret smiles, and the ceremonial ringing of the perfect fit bell, real or imaginary. You learn that every fitting is a tiny journey, from awkward beginnings through mild chaos to triumphant relief. At the end of the day, you're tired, slightly sticky from body mist, and a bit dizzy from the endless parade of straps, hooks, and padding. But you've helped dozens of people find a little more comfort and confidence in a world that's mostly mystery and elastic. You hang up your tape measure, straighten the fitting room curtains, and know you've survived another day in the underwire trenches. One measurement, one brave customer, one perfect fit at a time. It's executive meeting time. The boardroom smells like burned espresso and fear. Every new CEO promises to modernize the brand, but mostly you're just watching middle-aged men argue over whether polka dots are still on trend. You sit at the far end of the glossy table, clutching a lukewarm cup of premium coffee that tastes suspiciously like regret. The walls are lined with blown-up catalogue photos, the kind where models pose heroically in wind machines, looking as if they've never heard the word budget cut. The morning's agenda, strategy, synergy, and a painfully long PowerPoint filled with graphs no one really understands. The latest CEO stands up, freshly minted, shiny with optimism. He clicks to the first slide. "We need to innovate," he says, with the solemnity of a priest announcing Lent. "We need to disrupt, to pivot, to meet the customer where she lives, shops, and dreams." Everyone nods solemnly, as if these phrases haven't already been repeated in every meeting since the dawn of retail. The head of marketing mutters about brand storytelling. The finance chief asks, not for the first time, why every decision seems to involve more sequins. There are debates. Oh, there are debates. Should the new catalogue feature soft neutrals or neon animal prints? Are hearts empowering, or are they passé? A faction argues for minimalism. Less is more. While another counters, no, more is more, and brandishes a fabric sample that could blind astronauts. Nobody can agree on the fate of polka dots. A senior VP claims they're timeless. The new social media manager, brave but clearly doomed, gently suggests they're a little grandma chic for Gen Z. Beneath the surface, the stakes are high. The boardroom is a den of polite betrayals and strategic alliances. There are whispers about who's in line for the next promotion, who secretly hates the new fragrance, who's about to defect to a startup that only sells socks. People swap seats to signal allegiances, a subtle game of musical chairs, where the only thing more prized than a window view is the inside scoop on the holiday campaign. Someone brings up the competition, always spoken of in hushed tones, as if uttering another brand's name could summon disaster. We need to be more like them. No, we need to be nothing like them. The argument spirals until the merchandising director, half joking, suggests they just launch a line of wearable blankets and call it a day. For a moment, everyone considers it. Retail, after all, is about comfort. Amidst the chaos, there are earnest moments. The head of customer service pleads for more realistic sizes. The design lead pitches a campaign about real bodies, real stories, but is quickly overruled by someone worried that authenticity doesn't photograph well under studio lighting. Ideas bounce around the room like rogue bras in a dryer. Influencer collabs, interactive dressing rooms, a podcast series about self-love and possibly cats. Every so often, a decision is made. A new logo, a special edition fragrance, a slightly different shade of pink. You dutifully record the outcome in your notepad, knowing it will probably be reversed at the next meeting. The coffee pot is refilled. Someone suggests lunch. An intern types furiously, capturing every brainstorm and every awkward pause for posterity. By the end of the marathon meeting, nothing is fully decided and everything is up for review. The team files out, half inspired, half exhausted, plotting their next moves and Googling how to make cold brew at home. The boardroom empties, the ghosts of past marketing blunders lingering in the stale air. As you throw out your cup, you realise this is where the real secrets are made, not in velvet showrooms or glossy catalogues, but right here, amid burnt coffee, power struggles, and a collective undying hope that maybe, just maybe, this is the year polka dots make a comeback. You open the morning news, another expose, another lawsuit, another awkward apology from corporate. HR is handing out pamphlets, and nobody knows what's safe to say anymore. The only thing not being revealed, the actual secret. It's become part of the morning routine. Pour coffee, scroll through headlines, and brace for impact. The company name is trending again, never for a new product launch or viral campaign, but for troubling revelations and ongoing legal drama. Your inbox fills with all-staff emails full of urgent reassurances. We take these matters very seriously. Transparency is our top priority, and please remember to forward all media inquiries to PR. At this point, you've memorized the address for the press release template. You shuffle into the break room, where the air is thick with nerves and a hint of vanilla body spray. Conversations are cautious. Nobody knows what is considered just venting and what might become Exhibit A in a future HR investigation. The new HR pamphlet is titled Building a Respectful Workplace, which everyone reads, pockets, and then, more often than not, uses as a makeshift coaster for their fourth cup of coffee. Rumours swirl. Someone's heard that a manager is on administrative leave. Another swears the legal team has doubled in size since last quarter. Anxious eyes dart toward the executive suite every time the glass doors swing open. The latest scandal is dissected in hushed tones. Did you read the article? I heard they're launching an internal investigation. Will there be a statement or just another video with sad piano music? PR works overtime, cobbling together apologies that are both heartfelt and vague. Apologies are now their own art form. We are deeply sorry for any distress this may have caused. We are listening and learning. We value every member of our community. Somewhere, a lawyer is editing out anything that sounds like an actual admission of guilt. The official motto might as well be, we regret the thing that happened, whatever it was. And then come the lawsuits, employment claims, discrimination allegations, intellectual property disputes, class actions about sizing or advertising. At some point, someone jokes that the legal department should just have a permanent now open sign. Outside counsel is on speed dial. There's a spreadsheet tracking every case and a betting pool on how many zeros the next settlement will have. Headlines become a kind of bingo card. Toxic culture? Check. Body image backlash? Check. Questionable emails surface? Double check. Meanwhile, customers keep shopping, albeit with a newfound taste for drama. The real show isn't on the runway, it's in the courtroom. Social media, once a place for filter-heavy bra selfies, transforms into a war zone. Comments range from supportive, "We love you, Victoria," to the devastating, "Do better," VS, to the truly unhinged, "Bring back the 1997 push-up, you cowards." You silently vow to never read the comment section again. Employees hold their breath waiting for the next crisis. Town halls are scheduled and rescheduled. At every one, the CEO or someone with chief in their title tries to sound sincere while reciting the quarterly damage control script. Questions from the audience are appreciated, though answers remain more mysterious than the company's original secret. Through it all, the real secret stays buried. Nobody's talking about who picked the slogans, who signed off on the campaigns, or how many corporate retreats ended with teary confessions in a hotel bar. All anyone knows is that, in retail, scandals come in waves, and the people who work here have learned to surf them with a calm smile, a vague reply, and a backup plan. You return to your desk, update your resume just in case, and wonder if the next big story will be the one that finally reveals the secret everyone's pretending they don't know. Until then, it's business as usual in the world's most dramatic lingerie empire. The runway lights dim, the wings are packed away, and suddenly the world moves on. New trends, new bodies, and an internet that loves to hate what it once worshipped. You're left wondering if anyone really misses the glitter or just the spectacle. It happens quietly at first. There's no grand finale, no televised curtain call. 1 year, the annual spectacle simply isn't there. The stage is dark, the glitter cannons are silent, and 1,000 feathered wings gather dust in a warehouse, next to crates of scented candles and a slightly haunted push-up bra from 2002. Retail staff brace themselves for the onslaught of disappointed questions. When's the next show? Where are the angels? Can I get a selfie with the inflatable lipstick display? But the answer is always the same. It's over. Fashion, like the internet, has a short attention span and a voracious appetite for newness. The world pivots almost overnight. Runways fill with models who look like people you might actually know. Tall, short, curvy, compact, gloriously tattooed. Instead of staged perfection, there's diversity, authenticity, and the realization that wings may be less important than pockets. New brands pop up offering realness in recycled cotton. Marketing campaigns run on TikTok and body positivity, and the loudest thing about a fashion show is the hashtag. You watch as the once unassailable empire of angels and fantasy bras is rebranded, reimagined, and occasionally roasted in group chats across the globe. The internet, once a shrine to angel energy, now delights in memes about retiring the sparkle and nostalgic think pieces about the death of aspiration. You scroll through comments ranging from heartfelt, "The show inspired me to love myself," to savage, "Good riddance to the glitter dust allergy." Behind the scenes, the company holds town halls. Executives explain strategic pivots and modern reinventions. Words like inclusive, empowering, and elevating all women echo down the hallways, bouncing off life-size cardboard cutouts of angels in thigh-high boots. The designers work overtime to reinvent classics for a new generation: bralettes, soft-cut bras, and pajamas you can actually sleep in, all photographed on models who smile like they mean it. Staff meetings feel different too. The new campaign features athletes, musicians, activists, and the kind of friends you'd invite to brunch. Photo shoots are less about posing on staircases in 6-inch stilettos, and more about laughing in natural light, eating snacks, and occasionally throwing confetti just for the heck of it. You notice that mannequins, once impossibly narrow-waisted and indifferent, have grown more relatable. Their poses less seduce the camera and more waiting for coffee to brew. And yet there's nostalgia. Staff share war stories about the old days, backstage glitter avalanches, the year someone's wings caught on fire, and the secret to surviving a 12-hour shift in fishnets. Customers ask about the fantasy bras with a wistful tone, the way people talk about drive-in movies or the taste of 1990s cereal. There's a strange comfort in knowing that, for a while, we all bought into the same shimmering dream, even if it was mostly polyester and hope. The world is changing. You see it in every campaign, every Instagram reel, every new billboard with models who don't look like angels, but do look like someone you might borrow a sweater from. You realize that sometimes letting go of the spectacle makes space for something softer, more real, and dare you say it, more comfortable. As you close up shop, sweeping the last stray sequin into a dustpan, you wonder what comes next. Maybe it's not about missing the glitter at all. Maybe it's about missing a time when we believed a pair of wings could make you fly. Or maybe, just maybe, we're all a little relieved to finally put the costume jewellery away and get some sleep. You're at HQ in 2024, surrounded by TikTok consultants, diversity initiatives, and the ghosts of old marketing slogans. The big question: can a brand built on secrets survive in an era where everyone overshares? Or will the biggest secret be how they lasted this long? The headquarters looks different now, brighter, busier, and full of people who use content calendar as a verb. Conference rooms once dedicated to angel strategy are now named after trending hashtags. Gen Z interns swap tips on going viral and brainstorm ways to make thongs relatable in a 12-second video. One executive suggests hiring a holographic influencer. Someone else wonders aloud if AI could finally solve the mystery of bra sizing. There are more ring lights than desk lamps. This is the new Victoria's Secret, scrambling to fit into a world where every secret is one TikTok away from public knowledge. The social team films behind the scenes get ready with me videos, featuring models and staff who look like they might actually eat bread. Every product launch comes with its own hashtag and a campaign designed to spark conversation, translation, please go viral. You find yourself learning dance routines for a bralette drop, all while wondering how many takes it takes to look effortless. Old marketing wisdom is out. Authenticity is in. The word empowerment is everywhere, on posters, in scripts, on the bakery cookies in the break room. Corporate retreats focus on radical transparency, meaning that every meeting is a potential content opportunity. Somewhere, a camera crew follows a designer making a latte because people want to see the real you. You're not sure what that means, but you keep your latte art appropriately humble just in case. Meanwhile, the ghosts of slogans past linger. What's sexy now? Someone asks, hoping the answer is not awkward honesty or hydration. The archive room, once full of wings and crystal bras, is now storage for social media props, eco-friendly tote bags and piles of old bombshell packaging. There's talk of sustainability, inclusivity, leaning into discomfort. The phrase body positive is repeated so often you start dreaming in motivational hashtags. Diversity initiatives shape every campaign. Models come in all shapes, sizes, shades, and life stories. The creative team spends hours debating which real story will trend. One meeting is devoted to the question, how do we make period panties aspirational without sounding like a pharmaceutical ad? You suggest a jingle, immediately regret it, and are assigned to the menstrual movement brainstorming subcommittee. Of course, reinvention isn't easy. The brand's critics, once scattered across fashion blogs, now have millions of followers ready to roast any misstep in the comments. The social team braces for feedback. Why did you choose that influencer? Who greenlit that hashtag? When will you finally fix the sizing? You develop a thick skin, a flexible script, and an appreciation for the power of a well-timed puppy cameo. But amidst the chaos, something surprising happens. Small, genuine moments cut through the noise. A video featuring staff making sizing mistakes goes viral, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. A customer shares a story about finally feeling comfortable in her own skin. A model posts a blooper reel that gets more love than any polished campaign ever did. For the first time in a long time, the secret isn't about aspiration or exclusivity. It's about letting go, laughing at yourself, and maybe, just maybe, admitting that nobody has it all figured out. As you scroll through comments at the end of another day, you realize the real secret isn't a tagline or a new product. It's the messy, ongoing act of becoming, of learning, unlearning, trying again, and hoping someone out there sees you as you really are. Maybe that's enough to go viral, or maybe it's just enough. Either way, you straighten your ring light, double-check your follower count, and get ready to share the next chapter. Because in the age of TikTok, every day is a reveal, And the only thing more surprising than the trends is the fact that Victoria's Secret is still here, dancing, reinventing and keeping it real, one awkward video at a time. At the end of the day, as you fold the last pair of underwear and turn off the lights, you can't help but wonder what the actual secret ever was. Was it about lingerie, empowerment, clever marketing, or just the universal hope that life, for one glittery moment, might feel a little bit fancier? You pause, surrounded by the echoes of 1,000 retail shifts, catalogues stacked in the back room, mannequins with eyelashes longer than your ambitions, the faint scent of body mist lingering like a well-intentioned ghost. The racks are empty, the windows glow with after-hours neon, and there's a kind of peace that only comes when the store is finally silent. Somewhere in the distance you hear the Mulls closing music and smile at the absurdity of it all. You reflect on what brought everyone through these doors. Was it just the promise of lace and satin? Or was it something deeper, a moment of escape, a tiny rebellion against the monotony of daily life? For decades, customers sought more than the right fit. They came for a story, a feeling, a fleeting spark of glamour to carry with them past the checkout. Behind every purchase there was a hope, sometimes whispered, sometimes shouted, that confidence could be bought by the bag, or at least rented for a weekend. Parents shopping for their daughters, partners searching for the perfect surprise, single shoppers buying something just for themselves because, frankly, they deserved it. The real secret was never just what was in the bag, but what left with it. The possibility of feeling beautiful, brave, or simply a little less invisible. And for the employees, the secret was about more than just folding panties and enduring the 5th hour of the same pop song. It was camaraderie forged in chaos, lifelong friendships built over late-night restocks, and tiny acts of kindness, finding someone's true size, talking down a nervous teen, offering a smile that said, "You belong here too." There was pride in helping someone see themselves in a new light, and humour in every strange request and holiday rush. You think of the corporate side, the boardrooms, the brainstorms, the glossy ad campaigns promising the world in exchange for $49.99. Was it all just clever marketing, or did someone somewhere really believe in the magic? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the power of a good story is that people want to believe, even when they know the tricks. The sequins, the fantasy bras, the runway angels, they were all smoke and mirrors, but for a while everyone was in on the illusion together. As you lock up for the night, you realize the real secret might be this. Life is made up of small moments of joy and absurdity, and we're all just looking for a little sparkle in the mundane. The brand changed, the fashions changed, the world changed, but the need to feel special, even just for a minute, is stubbornly timeless. Tomorrow, there will be new trends, new scandals, and another parade of hopeful shoppers looking for magic in a mall. But tonight, you can let the curtain fall on decades of lace, lies, laughter, and a stubborn kind of hope. You made it through another day, another decade, helping people chase a feeling, whether it came in the form of a lacy bra or a slogan that made no sense but felt just right. So maybe the real secret is that there is no secret, just people, a little glamour, a lot of hustle, and the ongoing, slightly ridiculous search for something that makes us feel a little more alive. And as you step out into the quiet night, you carry that glitter with you, proof that, for a moment, the world can be both ordinary and extraordinary, one fold, one laugh, one hopeful heart at a time. It's 1999, and you've just landed in London with a suitcase full of push-up bras and an optimistic smile. The British public is bewildered, the press is scandalised, and you're explaining over and over that no, Victoria's Secret is not a government agency. By day 3, a group of confused French tourists have bought the entire store out of leopard print panties. You wonder if this is what international diplomacy feels like. The storefront is a pastel pink beacon among grey stone facades, drawing curious crowds and the occasional protester with a hand-painted sign that reads "Ban the Brassiere." Every morning you set up the window display, adjusting mannequins to a standard of glamour that feels oddly subversive in a land known for keeping its knickers, well, private. You're watched by a flock of pigeons, a pair of elderly men in bowler hats, and an entire brigade of bemused schoolchildren on a field trip. Your first customers arrive, a trio of grandmothers with sensible shoes and a look that says, "We survived the Blitz. We can survive this." They peer at the lace thongs, whisper about American excess, and eventually settle on a six-pack of cotton briefs. The shop is a culture clash, a miniature United Nations of taste and sensibility. Some shoppers come for the thrill, some out of sheer curiosity, and others just because it's raining and the store smells like vanilla frosting. You field questions all day. Why is everything pink? Are the models really this tall in person? Do you have anything that won't make me look like I've gone off my head? Each inquiry is met with a practiced smile and the steady confidence of someone who once explained miracle push-up technology to a German customs officer. You learn to translate sizes between imperial and metric, decipher currency conversions, and find the most diplomatic way to say, "No, we do not have an Earl Grey-scented body spray." The British press circles like seagulls at a seaside chip shop. Tabloids run headlines like Lacey Yanks take London and Victoria's Secret. What are they hiding? A local morning show sends a reporter to do a live segment, and you end up on camera, gamely demonstrating the correct way to adjust a balconette bra for maximum lift and separation. Your mother in Ohio calls, having seen you on Sky News, and asks if you're now a celebrity undergarment consultant. Meanwhile, tourists descend in droves. French teens snap up anything animal print, declaring it très chic. Italians gravitate toward the fragrance wall, arguing passionately over whether Heavenly Mist is more romantic than Crush. Australians breeze in and out, mostly asking for socks. One American tourist burst into tears of homesickness in front of the Dream Angels display, consoled by a free sample and a limited edition tote bag. Of course, with every new frontier come hiccups. There's a brief international incident when the Royal Corgi chews up a thong sample at a charity event. Your shipment of very sexy bras is delayed by customs, the paperwork citing excessive optimism. The Queen's cousin reportedly asks for a private fitting, and the staff debates whether ma'am or your royal supportiveness is more appropriate, but slowly the city warms to you. Locals pop in for gift cards and bath bombs. The neighbouring pub sends over a pint when you help their manager pick out an anniversary gift. You learn to enjoy tea breaks, drizzle, and the dry humour of British compliments. That's quite something, isn't it? The store becomes less a scandal and more a quirky fixture, a little corner of American exuberance in the heart of London. And as you lock up at night, you realise that international diplomacy isn't all tea parties and treaties. Sometimes it's about convincing a stranger that leopard print can in fact be tasteful, or at the very least make for an excellent conversation starter at the next embassy ball. You clock in at midnight, armed with a mop, a playlist of 90s hits, and a healthy fear of mannequins in thongs. The after-hours mall is a ghost town. Somewhere in the back you hear a crash, another avalanche of unsold very sexy bras. You pause to ponder life's biggest question. Who's really keeping the secret alive? The marketing team? Or the guy who unclogs the glitter-infused drains at 2 a.m? The store is different at night. Gone are the glittering displays and the chorus of eager sales pitches. Now there's just you, the humming of the air conditioning, and the faint sugary scent of 1,000 discontinued body sprays. The mannequins seem to shift when your back is turned, caught mid-sachet beneath the emergency exit lights. You give them a nod of respect. They've survived more wardrobe changes than most Broadway stars. Tonight's mission: restore order to a kingdom of chaos. You start with the fitting rooms, where abandoned hangers and rogue push-up pads lurk like tiny fashion poltergeists. There's always one room that smells inexplicably of chocolate and regret. You find a note on the mirror: great service. Sorry about the body glitter. You add it to your growing collection of night shift artifacts. In the stockroom, you confront the mountain of inventory: boxes of panties, bras, slippers, and a rogue shipment of holiday-themed pajamas marked Urgent, Christmas 2017. There's an art to stacking these boxes too high, and it's a liability; too low, and the mice get ideas above their station. You organise, restock, and occasionally rescue a sales associate's forgotten coffee mug from under a pile of pink sweatshirts. The mall at midnight has its own soundtrack: distant echoes, rolling carts, and, if you're lucky, the soft shuffle of fellow janitors. There's the mall security guard, making his rounds with the seriousness of a secret agent. You trade nods, share snacks, and swap tales of bizarre discoveries: an abandoned high heel in the fountain, a mannequin arm in the Cinnabon dumpster, a mountain of glitter clogging the drains in a way that can only be described as festive sabotage. Glitter, in fact, is your nemesis. It coats every surface, infiltrates every crevice, and laughs at your feeble attempts with broom and mop. It clings to your uniform, your skin, and sometimes your very soul. You once tried to vacuum it up and created a small, sparkling tornado that left the break room looking like a unicorn had exploded. The cleaning crew has an unofficial motto: we don't eliminate glitter, we just relocate it. Lingerie logistics, meanwhile, is an exercise in patience, problem-solving, and the ability to read labels in 6 different languages. You sort returns, tag new arrivals, and decipher cryptic shipment notes. Do not bend. Fantasy bras inside. You wonder, as you line up rows of identical thongs, how many shades of pink can exist before the human eye rebels. There's satisfaction in the work, though. By the end of your shift, the store gleams, the displays are back in order, and the mannequins look ready to greet another day of eager shoppers and panicked gift buyers. You close the storeroom, lock the register, and take one last walk through the aisles, your silent domain, your nightly masterpiece. As the sun begins to rise, the day crew arrives, chipper and smelling of fresh coffee. They don't see the mountain you moved, the glitter you battled, the bras you heroically rescued from underfoot, but you know. You exchange a tired smile and disappear into the early morning, a shadow among sequins, the invisible force that keeps the secret running. Because in the end, it's not just the marketing that makes Victoria's Secret possible. It's the unsung heroes, the cleaners, the organisers, the midnight miracle workers who keep the lights on and the lace fluffed. You hang up your mop, humming the last notes of your playlist, proud to have done your part in the world's glitteriest, most secretive after-hour show. Step into the fitting room, a space where time stands still, cell reception disappears, and the lighting could be used to interrogate medieval heretics. Customers emerge looking either radiant or traumatized. Urban legend says the mirrors are enchanted. The truth? You're just really tired. And yes, that is your 3rd coffee of the afternoon. The fitting room is less a retail convenience and more a portal to a parallel universe. Outside, the store pulses with cheerful music and hopeful shoppers. Inside, the air is heavy, perfumed, and oddly silent, broken only by the faint sound of a distant pop song and your own thoughts echoing off the tile. You're surrounded by heavy velvet curtains, hooks that never seem to be at the right height, and benches so tiny you suspect they're a practical joke. Customers vanish for what feels like hours. They emerge blinking, clutching armfuls of discarded lace and confusion. Some look triumphant, twirling to admire themselves in the endless reflections. Others exit as if they've just received devastating news from a trusted advisor. The mirror is both judge and confessor. It flatters, betrays, distorts. No one is immune. Even the mannequins look a little sheepish in its glare. You've heard the rumours, whispered among staff and passed down like ancient lore. Some say the mirrors are tilted, designed to add 2 inches of leg and subtract 3 pounds of worry. Others claim that certain stalls are lucky, while others are haunted by the ghosts of ill-fitting bras. There's always a story. My friend found her soulmate after trying on a slip in room 4. Or, never go into the stall with a sticker peeling off the wall, it shows your soul. Lighting is its own form of psychological warfare. There's a cold, fluorescent option for honesty, and a soft, pinkish glow for forgiveness. Sometimes both operate at once, resulting in a reflection that's equal parts angelic and anxious. You wonder if the person who designed this had a background in funhouse engineering or simply a dark sense of humour. At least once a day, a customer stands in front of the mirror, sighs and asks, "Is this what I really look like?" You wish you could answer with more than, "You look great, honestly," but the mirror has spoken and you're just here for emotional support. Behind the curtain, time becomes fluid. Minutes stretch out as customers try on every possible combination of size, style, and maybe just for fun. Friends gather in adjacent stalls, comparing notes in whispered tones. Partners hover outside, periodically called in for opinions, careful to tread the fine line between enthusiastic and not too enthusiastic. Children escape underneath the curtain, returning triumphantly with a handful of tags or a new pair of slippers. And then there's you, retail therapist, style sage, and witness to more self-doubt and hope than you ever signed up for. You offer tape measures and tissues, encouragement and reality checks. You learn to recognize the look, a mix of dread and anticipation, wondering if this time the mirror will be kind. You joke about the magic mirror, but deep down you know the real magic is surviving the experience without running for the emergency exit. By the end of your shift, the fitting room is littered with forgotten socks, a trail of hangers, and a gentle fog of body mist. You turn off the lights, checking the mirrors one last time for hidden existential crises or stray lipstick stains. You leave behind another day's worth of whispered confessions, small triumphs, and harmless illusions. As you step out, you reflect, pun intended, on the power of the fitting room. It's not just about the clothes or the mirrors or even the lighting. It's about facing yourself, with all your doubts and dreams, and walking out a little braver, or at least ready for another coffee. It's Saturday in Los Angeles. Suddenly a parade of pop stars, reality TV queens, and at least one very lost NFL player descends on the store. Paparazzi swarm. Someone is live streaming their bra fitting. You try to act casual as you restock body spray while an actual A-lister debates the virtues of seamless underwear. The real secret: nobody can actually find the exit. You always suspected working in LA retail would be interesting, but nothing quite prepares you for the surreal spectacle of celebrity shopping hour. The moment the first famous face crosses the pink velvet threshold, it's as if the entire building is sucked into a low-key episode of Lifestyles of the Laced and Famous. Flashbulbs pop through the front windows, illuminating shelves of perfume with names like Lovespell and Crush, turning the sales floor into a sparkling runway where the only thing more excessive than the glitter is the self-confidence on display. There's a carefully choreographed chaos to it all. A pop star with signature neon hair arrives, trailed by an entourage of stylists, managers, and 3 people whose sole purpose seems to be documenting her every facial expression for her 80 million followers. She flirts with a pile of push-up bras, offers to sign a mannequin, and asks you for the Wi-Fi password with the gravity of someone requesting state secrets. Not far behind, a reality TV icon, famous for doing something that nobody can quite define, holds court in the fitting room, FaceTiming her fans and providing a running commentary on her own choices. "Should I get the leopard print, or is that too last season?" she asks, spinning in front of a mirror that's already seen enough drama to qualify for hazard pay. Her assistant scours the racks for anything in millennial pink, and after an intensive search, emerges victorious with a bralette that matches the family dog's Instagram account. A linebacker, mid-season and off-duty, towers in the pink section. He looks mildly alarmed, clutching a scented candle and 2 pairs of glitter slides. He whispers, "My girlfriend sent me here. Please help." You do, gently steering him toward the least intimidating options and resisting the urge to offer him a helmet for the checkout line. As the lights dim and the last sparkly bra is tucked away, let's take a breath and drift back from the land of angels, endless glitter and marketing secrets. Tonight, you've survived the founding chaos, the scented catalogue avalanche, the existential horror of the fitting room mirror, and at least one pink dog-related identity crisis. You've made it through stampedes for tote bags, boardroom brawls over leopard print, and the truly terrifying sound of holiday music on loop. But beneath all the lace and neon, there's something strangely inspiring. A reminder of just how stubborn, creative, and a little bit ridiculous people can be. Victoria's Secret didn't build an empire on perfect bodies or perfect business plans. It was built on awkward ambitions, wild ideas, and an endless ability to pivot, sometimes in heels, sometimes in slippers, and always with a straight face. And somewhere between the glitter bombs, corporate reinventions and 3 a.m. fitting rooms heart-to-hearts, you realise, everyone, from the founders to the janitors, was just doing their best to keep the dream, and the doors, open one more day. So tonight, as you relax into your very unglamorous pyjamas, no sequins required, maybe take a moment to feel grateful for the little comforts of modern life, for stretchy waistbands, for soft lights, for the fact that no one is judging you for wearing socks with holes. Whisper a quiet thank you to the generations before us who braved weird sizing, workplace chaos, and more scented body spray than science should allow, just so you could sleep easy. Because if history teaches us anything, it's that people will always find new ways to make things weird, wonderful, and occasionally sparkly, usually when you least expect it. Rest easy, knowing the only real secret is that it's okay to laugh at it all, and to be just exactly who you are, flaws and all. Good night, sleep well, and may your dreams be free of awkward fitting rooms and holiday remixes. You earned it.